everybody. Dan Myers, Nick Buckler, happy to be back with you as always. Dan, the Lions.
The Lions.
I was told yesterday during the Lions game against the Minnesota Vikings that if this team wins, you have to go on your show tomorrow and just say how this team is good. Because as we all know, months ago, we spoke about this team not being good. And by we, I mean I spoke. And I yelled. And I screamed. And I was pretty upset. And I said things about this team that, well, I meant. But you know what? This team has rattled off 3 straight wins after that, then dropped a game against Houston, and then won at the division-leading Minnesota Vikings. Stafford was given 23 seconds to drive down the field after trailing by 3 on the road at a first-place team's own building. And they give it to the old Prate Nasty. And he boots it, still halfway through the uprights, from 58 yards as time expired. They win the toss in overtime. They get the ball. They drive 91 yards down the field, I believe, right? 91? Was it something like that? I don't know exactly. But it was 90 yards or more or less, give or take. Down the field, Golden Tate with the karate chop into the end zone. And folks, they won the game, 22-16. The Vikings were favored by 6.5 points, and the Lions won by 6. So you do the math. Mm-hmm. If the spreads were a thing, they win by 12.5 points. Which leads me to say, Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback of all time. Not just this season, of all time. Joe Montana? No. Steve Young? Give me a break. Dan Marino? Who? Brett Favre? Wrangler jeans. Matthew Stafford, elite, GOAT, the greatest of all time. We broke down the remaining schedule, and I said they would lose every game. They would go 1-15. The team's a disaster area. Folks, we got to update that, Dan. We have to. Next game, they're coming off a bye week. They're going to be charged. They're 5-4. They're rejuvenated. They're only a half game out of first in the division. And they come home for 2 home games within a week. 2 within a week. 2 within 5 days, actually. 4 days. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are abysmal. Dan?
Yep.
They're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win large. Thanksgiving. There will be a lot of thanks being given to that same Minnesota team because it's going to be ugly. It's going to be a disaster area, and they're going to win. They're going to win big. And then at New Orleans, oh, you better believe they're going to win that game too. Drew Brees, he's got nothing on Stafford. Battle of number 9s. It's not going to matter. Moving on to Chicago, the worst team in the division. We already lost to them once, so we won't do it again. They're going to win that one too. What's their record? I don't know, but they only have 4 losses. At the Giants, win. At Dallas, they'll probably have Tony Romo back. They're going to win that game too. Oh, at home against Green Bay to end the year. Who? Aaron Rodgers? I don't care. They're going to win that one. Win the game. Win every game. So they're going to win the NFC North. They'll be 12-4. And you know what's going to happen after that? They're going to get a first-round bye for winning the division. And then they're going to win the divisional game. It'll probably be against Dallas or someone, and they'll probably win by 5 touchdowns because they're the best ever. And then move on to the NFC Championship game. Who are they going to play? Seattle, Arizona? It doesn't matter who they're going to play because they're going to win by 40. Then they're going to get the Pro Bowl week. It won't matter. No one will play in it because the Lions are going to the Super Bowl. Media day will come. Stafford's going to say, hey, I'm the MVP. Caldwell will say, hey, I don't know what's going on. But he will. That's the thing. This man will know what's going on. I'm itching now because I'm so into this team. They're so good. Super Bowl. They're going to play New England. Tom Brady, the Michigan boy, coming down. 97 Wolverines or whatever year Wolverines. Doesn't matter. He's got nothing on staff. He's got nothing on the Lions. They're gonna have DeAndre Levy back. They're gonna have Ziggy Ansah. They're gonna have Amir Abdullah back. They're gonna have Jason Hanson back. Maybe even Barry Sanders back. They're gonna be back. Bart Starr. This team's back. The Lions, Super Bowl champs. The Cubs could do it. The Lions can do it. That's right. They can. One pride. Hashtag swag YOLO. You know what? Step aside, 07 New England Patriots. The Lions are coming for you next after they take the Super Bowl. Oh, the 72 Dolphins? You guys got nothing. This is the Lions' time. 42 Bears? Them too. See ya. The 16 Lions. The best team ever assembled. And you know why? They have the best fearless leader in all of the world, Jim Caldwell. If anyone knows anything about anything, that man does. There is no doubt in his eye. He has the most emotion in the world. You know what? They might rename the Super Bowl trophy. Step aside, Vince Lombardi, because Papa Jim, Jimmy Caldwell, is here.
You heard it here first on the wrap-up. Yeah.
You care to any of those topics that I hit? You want
to? Where do you go from there? I mean, you pretty much guaranteed this legacy that the Lions are going to bring to the NFL, and
they've already brought it. This is the best team ever.
Yeah, we're in great company right now.
That was for all my friends who hated anything that I've said over the past weeks about how bad this football team is. There you go. Hope you're happy.
Snap back to reality, though.
Oh, there goes gravity. Dan, you know what? You should talk. I don't know why I'm so juiced up right now. I don't get it.
No. Plug.
You can make your check out to Nick Buckley. Red Bull. That was for you. Moving on.
Yeah. So what did you think overall? What was the overall tone of the game Sunday?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Okay.
No, I did catch the end when Minnesota scored the touchdown to go ahead. And then I kind of stepped outside. I was down at Joe Louis Arena last night, and I heard the Fox truck just going nuts. I go, what's going on? So I walked in there, checked my phone, looked in, and Matt Prater had just kicked a 58-yard field goal to tie the game. I mean, this man does own the record for longest field goal in NFL history with 64 yards when he was with Denver. And then he had some alcohol troubles. They released him. Thank you for that. The guy needs some jack. I don't care what he needs. He's kicking field goals. He's winning games. And Stafford's driving him down the field at the end. In all reality, aside from the craziness that opened the show, is Stafford the MVP this year? Maybe. I'm just trying to think of a player who's been better. Tom Brady, although he missed 4 games, has been just off the charts. He's been unreal. But Stafford, the Lions have trailed in every single fourth quarter in every game this year. And they're 5-4. And in the games that they haven't come back, like the Tennessee game, that was a game they could have won. I'm not going to quite say the Green Bay game, just because they were getting blown out so badly. The Houston game was a slop fest, as well as the Chicago game. So, I mean, those games, those were the 4 losses. Not really sold on him just yet, but, I mean, I'm starting to think he enjoys being put in that situation to lead his team back. And I think he's done a great job of it this far.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, especially when you got 23 seconds to go, no timeouts, the game's on the line. And to me, it says something. I'm not sure what it says yet, though. But it's definitely apparent that there's something going on with this guy. He's definitely a terrific talent. But where we go from here, the true talent, the legends, take your team to a Super Bowl. And we've yet to see that, let alone, a nice run in the playoffs. But, in the third quarter, though, he was in the negative numbers. And then again, they also let 2 more touchdowns by tight ends, which equals 10 allowed this year, which is a no-no also. So where the team's going to go, I'm not sure. But there's some bright spots. But then again, there's some really bad, dark spots that you got to get fixed if you want to make a run.
Right, like DeAndre Levy. Is this guy ever going to come back? I mean, he has CTE, allegedly. Not that that's a joke, but it's just he says he doesn't, and then doctors will say he does, and then he says he does, and then he says he's fine. Yet the man hasn't practiced in 2 months. He played the first week, and that's it. That's just typical getting a contract and then not doing anything about it. Just like, I mean, we've seen it with Datsuk, and I just hope he's not going to retire after this. I mean, he even played great in that first game of the season against the Colts. So it is frustrating, definitely, because the defense has been pretty bad this year. They've come up with some big stops. But it's just, you never know. They do have a favorable schedule in all reality going down the stretch. They should win the Jags game. Thanksgiving, you never know, but they could easily beat the Vikings. New Orleans, you never know either because their defense is pretty bad. They're on the same boat as the Lions. They have a strong quarterback, a strong offense, and a questionable running game, although New Orleans' running game went off this past week against San Fran, then against San Fran. Grain of salt. But their defense is bad. And then Chicago at home, they should win that. The Giants are a question mark. Dallas is a good team in their own building. It all depends if Romo's back because, to me, they're a worse team with Romo than they are the rookie Dak Prescott. They have Ezekiel Elliott and then at home against Green Bay, which could be for the division when it comes down to the end of the year. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Right now, who's the best team in the NFC North?
Yeah, right now it's got to be Green Bay. Green Day. Sorry.
Green Day.
Green Day. Yeah, they're playing.
American Idiot.
Green Bay. Yeah, but they do, with that being said, though, they do have the Lions. They do have 3 remaining divisional games. They're all at home also, which is huge, which that can benefit this team. Whether or not they choose to go with it and take advantage of that, I don't know. Another big issue they have to worry about, though, is the fact that they've been trailing every game, especially in every fourth quarter. And, maybe they like that pressure. We've seen them, pulling tricks out of their hats. But, when it comes to the playoff time, should you make it to the playoffs, there's a lot more pressure. And I don't know if this Lions team is able to handle it.
Right, it will be a lot of pressure. We've seen it in years past when they have made the playoffs. They were crumbled. You can say the Dallas game a couple years ago was all because of the refs, and I mean that's a typical Lions fan cry for help. Detroit versus everybody, man. We got nothing. Did you see that? Oh, well, okay, it shouldn't have been in that situation where one play decides the game. If you had played good enough the entire game, you would have won the game. Oh, man, the refs hate us. No, the flags are up by 250% across the whole league. The league is awful, by the way. The refs are making it the no-fun league, the NFL. So don't say this is Detroit against the world, because it's not. It's everyone. Oh, everything's a passing. There's holding on every play. Yeah, exactly. So why are they going to call it only for one team? They're not. Okay, the refs are trying to make this about them, but at the same time, they're not just screwing over one team. It's a joke. Lions fans are the worst, and I'm sticking with my guns there. Just because the Cubs finally won, now the Lions are going to win. No. Okay, the Cubs got better. They cleaned house and made the right moves. They got a new ownership. They went in the right direction. They started their turnaround in 2012. They had a good manager, a.k.a. coach. Lions, who do you have? I don't think your coach knows who's coaching the team. So don't get me wrong. There's definitely some strong points with this team, but they are still the same franchise, the same ownership, and for the same players for the most part. So, mind you, too, the Lions, it's only been, 59 years?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, 59 years. Yeah. You still got, 58 more to go before it's, 50 to go.
Yeah.
57 more to go. So don't say, the Cubs. The Cubs drought was much longer than yours. So shut your mouth unless you get a good franchise and some good players. Then we'll talk. We'll have you here. Dan will slide over. You can sit right here on Daddy's lap and talk about how you think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl, because frankly, they're not. And if they do, I will resign from this show. You heard it here first. November, whatever day it is today, 2016. This show will dismember if the Lions win the World. That's right. The Lions win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And mind you, you can say, oh, it's going to be 2017. Okay, this season, 2017, 2016, whatever you want to call it, there will be no more wrap-up.
You know what?
No more. Done. Wait, I still need that for a little while, but Dan?
We're going to be, should this continue in the likely tradition
should they win, me and you are going to be calling Marvin.
Yeah. We're going to, no, but should they go the 108?
With a couple of twins,
Yes. But should they, they go the 108 years or whatever it was. You and I are going to be those old people that they show in the crowd.
If we're on the recliner,
that,
I won't be in the crowd, I promise.
There's going to be
I'm not a fan. I won't be there. I'll laugh.
There's going to be a story about each one of us like there was for the Cubs. I swear every old
Ernest Magoo was
celebrating
here.
102 years today.
He actually tried to smuggle the goat into Wrigley Field. Moving on, NCAA football, a football we can be proud of in this neck of the woods, at least for 50% of the fan base. Sorry, Sparty, little brother at it again. They may lose to Rutgers this week. Both teams 2-7. That's right, folks. Sparty lost in Champaign to Illinois, an abysmal program. Yeah, that's right. They lost. Now their 7th straight loss. They were 2-0. Mm-hmm. It all started with that loss to whoever they lost their first one to, Wisconsin, and it's all downhill from here. They might lose to Rutgers. Both teams 0-6 in the conference. Michigan, though, keeps rolling. 9-0, number 3 in the college football playoff rankings, number 2 in the AP and coaches poll. Dan?
And number 2 in the Heisman.
Jabril, number 2, right behind Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Lamar Jackson has 95% of the votes. The other 5% is Jabril Peppers. Sorry to Browning. Sorry to Deshaun Watson. sorry to Jabril, because if anyone beats Lamar Jackson, it's an outrage. This guy's just doing it all. Jabril, don't get me wrong, is a great player, but let's be honest, he's not a factor in enough plays to get the votes for Heisman Trophy, in my opinion. Great player. I'm not bashing him like a lot of people do when the Heisman talk gets brought up. But Lamar Jackson deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been my favorite all year. Just watching him, what a breakout, definitely a breakout year. But yeah, and there's a lot of talent on that top 5. You got Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Jabril Peppers, and J.T. Barrett. Peppers all around though is just incredible, and I think his odds should be a lot higher as far as winning, but we'll see when that day comes. But what a class going out there.
They're rowing the boat in Kalamazoo, 9-0. They've been playing a couple Tuesday games, which is kind of weird. AP, they are up to 14, and in the college football playoff, they're at 21. So, I mean, this team, look out. If they win out, they could be a part of the Cotton Bowl this year, and that will be huge. Definitely a step in the right direction. Hopefully, PJ Fleck sticks around in Kalamazoo for another couple of years. It would be a shame to see him leave for a recovering power conference school. But that leaves us to our picks, Dan.
Yeah.
We both went 3-2 2 weeks ago. We had an off week due to a contract dispute. We had some phonies in here from an old movie.
Some scab workers.
Were in here. And we said, listen, gang, we're not putting you guys on the air. And they went right back to 1976, so it's amazing how that happens. And in that time, Dan, we both went 3-2, so no one gained any ground either way. I am now 27-18 in our picks. You are 24-21. Still anybody's game with a few weeks left to play in the series. First game that we're going to take, number 3, Michigan at Iowa. Game of the week. College game day will be there. Michigan favored by 20 points on the road. Dan, who do you got?
Using my context clues, man, I got to go with Michigan for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I think we've taken Michigan every week. I'm sticking with them as well.
Why stop
Mind you,
now?
I'm going to play spoiler right now. I've took every road team this week
Nice.
in our picks. So, a little crazy.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see where that one goes. Let's just see how this goes. Rutgers on the road at MSU. MSU favored 14.5 points. Butgers or State? Who do you got?
You know what? Just to mix it up, I'm going to go with State. They got to pull one out. If they don't, it's just...
I've been giving them the benefit of the doubt, taking them against these garbage teams. But I'm rooting for the Scarlet Knights in this one to keep it within 2 touchdowns. Rutgers going to take this one. Baylor, number 17, travels to Oklahoma. Number 14, Oklahoma favored by 2 touchdowns, 14 points. I got the Baylor Bears.
I'll take Oklahoma. Yeah.
All right. West Virginia was unbeaten up till 2 weeks ago. They've now lost 2 straight. Number 20 in the country. Travels to Texas. Hook 'em Horns. The Horns favored by 2 points. I'm taking West Va. Rich Rod.
Yeah, I want to go with you too. I got to go with West. Yep.
LSU Tigers now up to number 13 after giving Alabama all they could handle in a 10-0 game. Almost took down the number 1 team at 0-0 in the 4th quarter. LSU favored by 7 at your team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, unranked. I'm taking LSU Tigers.
Yeah, I want to take LSU
They're favored
also.
by 7 in this one. Final game we'll talk to. It's a 10 o'clock tilt. The USC Trojans travel to the number 4 and undefeated Washington Huskies. Huskies favored by 9 at home. Who do you got?
I got to go with the Huskies.
Yeah, me too. I actually made a mistake there. I thought I took all road teams. I actually am going to take the Huskies there. That would have been a little wild. Not taking USC. Those are our picks, not yours. You can find them on our pretend website, therappup.gov.edu. We'll be right back.
What's up, man?
Oh, I need a haircut.
I just got mine done today.
Where'd you go?
Went to Rocco's. It's Chesterfield, about a mile east of 94 on 23.
Oh, how much do they charge?
It's $12. You can walk right in anytime. They're just closed on Sundays, I think.
Oh, $12? It might be worth the drive up there.
It really is. We'll go next time.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
If ever there's a reason to be swept up in the season of the falling rains, and if the days grew shorter and the darkness drew its order from the autumn gray, I'd rather sit this out and sleep the day away instead. My weary eyes a bit too slow and deep. Rather sit this out and sleep the day away instead, to worry about the emptiness that comes.
Welcome back, folks. Danny, Nikki. But before we jump into the struggle bus down at Joe Louis Arena, farewell to the Red Wings playoffs. Oh, sorry, slip. Spoiler alert, season's over. Just kidding, swag. The Big Ten proposed, and actually not proposed, it's going to happen. There's going to be some Friday night football games in the Big Ten. They're jumping on the bandwagon, and I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but Jim Harbaugh, as well as the AD at Michigan, voiced their opinion. What do you think about this, and is it taking away from high school, showcasing their talents, and really kind of downing them to the rest of the field in the Big Ten?
Right, and I gotta agree with that. With U of M, Michigan. Really, it seems like just a cash grab, another way to make money. If it hasn't been obvious already this year, they're definitely controlling the viewership or the viewer ratings over the NFL. I mean, this year the NFL season has just been not fun at all to watch compared to what's been going on with college football. As far as them wanting to go to Friday nights, yeah, that's fine, but I don't want to see it at home. I mean, I think it was going to be against visiting teams on the road. It won't be in Ann Arbor or in MSU or Michigan State, East Lansing. So you're going to see some Friday night games, but it's not going to be locally in Michigan. I agree with them, though. I don't like it. That's the highlight of the weekend. Well, one of the highlights of the weekend is waking up at noon or, wait for that 3:30 game or 2:30 game for it to come on. That's what fall's about, and watching that college football on Saturday. So, yeah, I have to agree. I don't like it. I'm not down with it.
I agree with you there. It's dumb. Michigan won't be a part of it, and Ohio State says they're not really firm on this idea either. So a lot of your bigger talents aren't going to be a part of this. So you're going to see Minnesota or Illinois or Indiana in these games. No one's going to watch that anyways. And to be honest, the Thursday games that they do have, or the Wednesday games with these ACC schools, no one watches those. Yeah. The ratings are awful. ESPN needs to dump them, maybe pick up some hockey. Yeah. Speaking of, you know who needs to pick up some hockey are the Red Wings. They need to pick up their game down at Joe Louis Arena. After winning 6 straight, being 6-2, they have now lost 5 straight games. They are 6-1 overall. But luckily for them, the teams above and around them are also losing. So they're still in a wild card spot. But, I mean, it's still very young in the season, early in the year, to really start looking at the standings. I usually won't do that till about January or February. But you need to pick up points when you can, and right now the team just placed today Thomas Vanek on long-term IR with no timetable for a return. In talking with him last week, I mean, it was very, disheartening. You really don't know when he's coming back, and since he's been out, the team has not won a game.
Right.
They won 1 game without him, and they've lost 5 in a row. They're 1-4-1 without Thomas Vanek. So. It's frustrating. It makes you scratch your head, but they recalled in a counter move, recalled Tyler Bertuzzi from the AHL. Not sure why it wasn't Anthony Mantha. The only thing I could think of was that Tyler Bertuzzi is waiver exempt. Anthony Mantha may have to clear waivers again if they do want to send him down. But to me, it's frustrating. But it looks like in their first game back Tuesday against the Flyers, Drew Miller will be a scratch. Insert Tyler Bertuzzi in on the second line with Larkin and Franz Nielsen. So, I mean, they're going to put him in opportunities to get some points and put some pucks behind the goalies. Really anything to shake this team up. Cronwall's back, looking bad. Smith is still Smith. Ericsson's got burned against Winnipeg in a game where the refs got 3 calls wrong that they had to review and then ended up getting overturned. They were all the right calls. Mickey Redmond, not so sure on the one, but the view I saw from the NHL PR and operating upstairs, the Toronto camera crew, from the crossbar cam, puck was definitely 2 feet in the net underneath Peter Mrazek. So it's just what's wrong with this team, and I think it's defense and lack of scoring, but I think with a good defense, a good offense will follow. Goaltending hasn't been the problem here for the first time in a while. Both Peter Mrazek, Jimmy Howard are playing good, not getting the goal support of late, and that could be who knows what.
Right, exactly. And what you were talking about earlier, you're not really looking at the stats right now this season, but normally with this be going on, I feel longer time or longer in the season, later in the season I should say. We're saying, well, they started on such a good run, they were so hot, and then it's more of a shock to us when they're struggling 1 or 2 games out of the playoff reach. But with that being said, they got to win these games. That's huge, but you can't really look at the standings right now. But they do have to fix minor things, especially with the mental errors. You can tell they're sort of critical with each other, or on each other, and but like Nick was saying, the goalies have been strong, and for once it's nice to breathe that sigh of relief that it's not the goalie's fault. Easy giveaways, like the other night in that breakaway, the other night versus Winnipeg. That was huge. They, easy goal that they got to stop giving up.
Jimmy Howard's really shored up his play. So, it's definitely a step in the right direction. So, we'll see how the season plays out. It's a long season. They got to get a couple wins here. In December, they're going to have every other day a home game where they have like a 6 or 7 game homestand. And they got to win 5 of those. Go on the road where they've played all right this year. At first, you were saying at home they're 4-0. Well, tides have turned. Now they've lost 4 straight home games. 5 straight overall, where they got a point in a game against Philly. They traveled to Wells Fargo in Philly for 2 times in 6 days, a place they have not won since 1997. They got to get her done.
We were talking about this last year at this time, hoping that they would get it done. And they got to work on that power play. They were 0 for 3 against Winnipeg.
They're like 0 for a million. Dan,
Yeah.
we're going to try something new.
All right.
Let's throw it at
Go
the
Blasters.
same time. Whatever. Dan, Nick, see ya.